Hello everyone, welcome back to Football-Oranje, your home of Dutch football in English language. I'm Michael Statham and I'm joined by Nick from United Hour. Nick, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi there, yeah, I'm Nick from the United Hour podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Manchester United.
Great. It's good to have you on, Nick, to give us the perspective of Manchester United. We're going to talk about Man United versus Twente in another busy European match week for Dutch clubs in Europe. Of course, we've already had PSV in final lose their games in the Champions League, so it is up to RZ, Twente and Ajax all in action in the Europa League this week to kind of make up for it, really. So Man United Twente, it's a bit of more of a glamour tie, which is why we're previewing this game. And Nick, I just want to get your opinion, talking from an English Premier League perspective, how do you see this game against Twente? Is it one you think, for example, do you think you're going to win this one comfortably?
Yeah, look, on paper, we're expecting to win this one. It's a home game at Old Trafford. We're a bit worried, though, about Europe. We had an awful European record last year, the Champions League. We failed miserably, didn't even manage to be that team that drops down to the Europa League. We were that bad. A lot of that was on Andre Onana, I guess a player that a lot of the Dutch fans will know from his kind of Ajax time. And he had this really bad start to the season and was literally throwing balls in his own net in 2 or 3 matches. And yeah, Erik ten Hag's first season in Europe ended very, very badly. But he has shown that he's got a good cup pedigree. He won the League Cup, then he's won the FA Cup. We are the favourite tournament, Europa League. And I'm more or less expecting that we're going to win this. I'm going to be disappointed if we're not hitting minimum kind of semi-finals of this tournament, basically. And, of course, in a knockout tournament, anything can happen. But yeah, I'm expecting that we're going to be going deep here. And we should be expecting to qualify with ease from this initial stage, this bizarre kind of 36 team table we have now in the Europa League. But yeah, first match coming up at home. The only question mark is how strong a team he kind of puts out. But I think he will go very strong because it's the first game. It's at Old Trafford. He doesn't want any slip-ups because he'll remember what happened last season. So I think he will go pretty strong and try and get those first 3 points on the board.
So, Nick, without kind of going to exactly what the Man United team will be, because it's going to be tricky to predict that, I'm just going to share my screen and bring up the current United squad. Just because of the amount of Dutch Eredivisie links there are in here. How many of these players do you think we'll get to see on Thursday? And are you expecting much rotation? I mean, just picking out some names here, Andre Onana being the goalkeeper, seems to have settled down after that tricky period at the beginning of his career at Man United. De Ligt has come in. A Netherlands international. Can't believe he's 25 and he's been around for so long now. Martinez, of course, from his links, Ajax. Malas is still injured, so we won't see him. But Mazraoui's there. Christian Eriksen from a long time ago at Ajax. And of course, the big bench flop got Anthony. Zirkzee too, though, has come in as well. And then you've got the coaching team. We've got Van Nistelrooy, Van Haken, Erik ten Hag, all of these Dutch links. So talk to us about some of these players you've had come into the club, and are we going to see these guys play or are we going to see some rotation?
I mean, De Ligt's come in and he's very quickly become first choice centre-back partners with Lisandro Martinez. I would expect one of them will drop out for rotation and that Harry Maguire will play this game. I'm not sure which because, they have both played some kind of international minutes this week in the League Cup. One of those is likely to drop out. Lately, he's been switching Maguire and De Ligt, and Martinez has been playing. So, one we'll see from there. Mazraoui did sit out our League Cup game last week. We're very thin on fullbacks, so I would expect he will play this game. He might rotate Dalot out instead. But as I say, we don't have that many fullback options because we've still got Luke Shaw injured. Tyrell Malacia we have not seen for over a year now, which is absolutely crazy. He is back in training. But when he's actually going to be fit to play, I have no idea. Christian Eriksen, who you mentioned, has had a sudden resurgence. He didn't play that much last season. A lot of United fans were expecting him to leave this summer. And all of a sudden, we had a shaky start to the season. Casemiro had an awful game against Liverpool. And people were kind of saying, our big summer midfield signing was Manuel Ugarte from PSG. But Erik ten Hag said he's not quite match fit, ready to be starting. And as a surprise to everyone, Christian Eriksen has now started the last 3 matches for us, done really well, like better than I expected. Because, the general idea was that his kind of legs are gone. He can play now and again, but he's not somebody you're expecting to start. Definitely not 3 times in a week. Even 2 times in a week, I thought was probably beyond him. So I would not be expecting him to start this game just because he has started the last 3. So it'll be Casemiro or Ugarte who will start that game. And then, your other Dutch connection, I guess, is Joshua Zirkzee. He, again, has probably played more football this season than Erik ten Hag would have wanted. And that's because Rasmus Højlund has been injured. He's been okay. He's scored a goal. But he's actually on XG wise, that's one of my favourite stats, the old expected goal. He should have scored about 5 goals by now. He's had a lot of chances and he's only got one of those. He's played relatively well. His link play is decent, but you can see that he's not that kind of deadly finisher. And maybe he's not really that number 9. He's more like a number 10 hold up man to bring in our wingers. I'd say he's 50-50 to start this game. He did start again on the weekend. Marcus Rashford sat out on the weekend, so I'm absolutely sure he will start this game. And then, there'll be a bit of rotation, but I think he'll go pretty strong. He won't want any slip-ups for that first European game at Old Trafford.
Okay, and I'm sure it won't surprise you to hear that with Twente, this is a big day out for them. They are going to love this. They do sing You'll Never Walk Alone before home games. This is going to be a big occasion. I've heard that the Twente fans are going to be coming in with all sorts of chants because the Liverpool fans have been teaching them. So I think it's going to be a bit tasty. I think it's going to be a bit more of an event than maybe some United fans are expecting. However, in terms of a level of the teams, the gap is big. United have got lots of attacking weapons that could easily see off these Twente defenders. Twente were once known for their defensive prowess and clean sheets and what have you. They're the best defensive record in the league for a couple of years. But they have now lost a few of those players from that team. Instead, now there are a couple of attacking players that are more promising. But yeah, this is going to be really, really difficult. I expect Lars Unnestal to be making lots of saves, a brilliant goalkeeper, but he'll be very busy. I think Mace Hilgers, who's like a young centre-back in the team, Indonesian international now, he will be busy trying to marshal a defence that is a bit inexperienced and has had new additions to it. There might be a couple of kids playing in that defence, Max Bruns. And then at fullbacks, it's going to be the new guys, Van Roy, Salah-Ad-Din. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm worried about those back 4 already. They're going to be very busy. And it's about how the midfield and attack can make the most of the chances that they get. Sem Stein has scored 7 goals in 8 games. Attacking midfielder looks on great form coming into this. And Twente did win 5-0 the weekend. So I think that it's not as if they've got no chance, but I do see it being comfortable for United. Not as comfortable as 7-0 against Barnsley, mind. I think Twente got a bit more about them than that. But I don't know. I don't know how Twente can keep United at bay. So, could you give us Dutch football fans, Twente fans, a bit of hope here? Like, what hope do we have other than the rotation aspect? How can Twente get at United?
You only have to go and see our Champions League results last year where we struggled against the likes of FC Copenhagen and Galatasaray to have plenty of hope against our team at the moment. This season we have actually been quite solid defensively. We've had 3 clean sheets in a row now. Our struggle, even though we did put 7 past Barnsley, but they're a 3rd division team over here. Our struggle is scoring goals at the moment. Without Rasmus Højlund, we slightly lack up front. Bruno has not been quite hitting it, although our wingers are suddenly hitting form. Rashford had a good game last week. Garnacho, Ahmad Diallo are all our most likely sources of goals. It is the midfield area that is our biggest conundrum at the moment. Kobe Mainu has been the absolute standout for us. He's like the great young hope for England as well. But who partners him has been our big question. And the midfield area was the biggest problem for Erik ten Hag last year. Last season, we were giving away ridiculous amount of shots and chances to every team we played. He's been playing crazily high as well with his fullbacks. And so a lot of teams have been getting joy on the counter against us, basically. So, that is what I guess Twente will be looking for. It's how we've been undone by other teams. already this season as well. Liverpool in particular did those that way. But yeah, the question mark will slightly be how seriously he takes this game. I have to see until we get our starting lineup. But as I said, I'd be surprised if he didn't take it very seriously. He won't want the kind of mess up that we had in Europe last year.
And the home games in Europe are the ones you need to win, sort of thing, that you always have more of a chance, of course. And I think for that reason, that's why United will probably go strong here. As for any of the weapons,
and especially in this new
got,
format.
The new format,
especially in this new format, you play teams only once. Normally, there'd be the home leg in England and then the away leg in the Netherlands. But this new weird format, there's just one-off games. So we won't be going out to the Netherlands at all. I think United, our trips away this year are Porto, Istanbul, Czech Republic, and somewhere I'm forgetting, Bucharest, Romania. But it is a bizarre one. I'm still kind of getting used to this idea. I mean, I don't know what you think about this new format.
I love it. I mean, it's different, that's for sure. I mean, there are just more exciting games. As for the players that are involved, like I do feel sorry for them, even as well paid as they are. Like there are too many games now. But I think if you reduced league fixtures, let's say, or cup fixtures, and add more of this, very happy with the new format.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem as well. I know I've got some friends from other countries, and they say, look, the Romanian fans are really sad that they're not going to get to go to Old Trafford because they're only playing away in that game, whereas the Twente fans, of course, will to Manchester. We are also used to teams coming, playing out of their skins, like the biggest game that they've played in years and years, game raising. We get that all the time. So even though some people might think, United fans think they're just going to roll over and it's going to be an easy one, we are absolutely used to all these teams coming, and much smaller teams than Twente as well, coming and playing absolutely game of their lives and giving us a hard time. So we won't be taking anything for granted or being complacent over here at all. And as well, it's nice to see sometimes that some teams come, and we've had it recently with teams from Spain and other places bringing massive away followings into Manchester, and it does actually create quite a cool atmosphere.
Yeah, Twente will be no different from that. They do have a really good following in the Netherlands. In fact, they are like Ajax, a bit of a Man United of the Netherlands. They do have lots of fans around the whole country. They're the two teams, Ajax and Twente, that people in the Netherlands love to see fail. They love to see them get it right, much like English people love seeing Man United really struggle. There's a jealousy aspect to it, of course, but it's one of those where I think they'll turn up, they'll be really noisy, they'll be loving it. And as for enough quality to get anything from the game, I think, like I said, the hopes rest with the likes of Sam Lammer scoring goals. But you mentioned their counter-attack opportunities. Joseph Oosting is one of the best coaches in the Netherlands right now, having risen up, if you like, with RKC Waalwijk, now becoming Twente coach, getting them into Europe, finishing third last season. And he's pretty good at what he does. He always does get the best out of the players he has, and another bold Dutch coach, if you like, that's making waves. He's tactically quite wise, and I think if these players can do as they're asked, I think they have a chance. But I think quality difference will tell. He usually has a way of getting the best out of his team defensively in order to make the most of a result. So particularly at home in Enschede, Twente have had some really good results against the top teams in the league. Away is where they've struggled. So I think that's where Twente might come unstuck. But they have won a couple of good games away from home already this season to suggest that may have changed. It looked like they were going to be having a step back at the start of the campaign. They lost out against Red Bull Salzburg in the Champions League qualifiers to drop down into Europa League. But now they've just kind of picked up form just as we go into this game. That 5-0 win was a pretty good one. I was worried Twente were lacking quality out in wide areas, but Dan Rotz is the left-footed right winger. He started making some goals again. And Mitchell van Bergen, he's not had a productive career so far, but has been around for a while. He's going to be in the left wing, I think, and he's just full of pace, absolute pace to burn. And will just simply try a shot or try a cross. He's just very direct and gets on with it. From the bench as well, you might see Ricky van Volkswinkel did once have a failed spell in England with Norwich. Lateef is a decent left winger, could come off the bench. And English fans may also remember Carol Eiting, who played with Huddersfield a long time ago. So there are some players that people might recognise. There'll be some players of the future. Some players here, there are 2 or 3 you might see in the Premier League or in another top 5 European league soon. But I am still thinking that it would be a Man United win. I'll be there, sat there watching it, going, "Come on, Twente, do it for Dutch football." But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, these teams come and we don't know that much about them. But obviously, having all these Dutch coaches in place,
Yeah.
I'm sure they all know absolutely plenty about Twente. That is the difference. As I say, we've got some other teams on our list that I'm sure they don't have that much idea about, whether it's Bodo Glimt or whatever that we're playing later on. But I'm sure they'll be absolutely stacked with knowledge about Twente. I don't think there'll be that kind of element of surprise that some of the more on paper smaller European teams come at Old Trafford. But yeah, I will be there at Old Trafford for this one. I always look forward to the European nights, the start of the campaign. So they didn't go well for us last year. But yeah, we've got fingers crossed for a much better European campaign this year. Now, the Europa League, we take a lot more seriously than we used to. I still remember the days when Alex Ferguson was almost like, I don't even really want to be in this competition. And he would play reserve teams in it. He was like, for me, it's like Champions League or nothing. But it was ever since they started offering that place in the Champions League to the winner of the Europa League that the kind of stature of that competition in England went up a lot. I know around Europe, it's always been a valued competition, but it was looked at quite down on when it first came in England. But since they started offering that Champions League place, now everybody takes it seriously because it's such a battle to finish top 4 in the Premier League. Everybody who's in the Europa League takes it big and serious now, and teams want to win it. And yeah, we won it under Jose Mourinho. We got to the final under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So yeah, it's a tournament that we definitely don't look down on anymore. And yeah, I do not feel that we're anywhere near guaranteed the top 4 position this year. So Europa League is going to be massively important for us.
Well, Nick, thanks so much for your time. And before we go, have to finish the prediction. What do you think the score will be?
My prediction is going to be that we'll take a 2-0 win. As I said, our defence has been pretty solid recently. We've had 3 clean sheets in a row now. Slight struggle on the scoring side. We were 0-0 with Crystal Palace on the weekend. But I'm hoping that Rashford coming back into the lineup, he had a really great game against Barnsley midweek last week and against Southampton the week before. So I think, yeah, he can get on there. Rasmus Højlund is now fit. If he doesn't start, he'll definitely be on the bench. So I'm hoping some of our more attacking talent will be on offer. So yeah, 2-0 would be my prediction.
So I think for me, like, Dutch teams have struggled in Europe this season already, and it's a bit of a concern, of course, for the coefficient looking ahead to that. Dutch league is the 6th best league in Europe at the moment. We want to cling on to that and actually show that we can just deserve that again in future. It's games like this, Twente have to try and take points if this is a realistic competition for them to do well in. I don't think it will happen though, but I do think Twente will score at some point, and I think it will make it, 1-0 up, 1-1 or 2-1, getting back into the game. I think that will happen at some point. I just don't know when. I think in the end, United's goals will flood through though, as Twente try and stay in the game and get something from it. So I'm going to go 3-1 United, but with Twente to give you a little scare at some point, just to remind you that the Dutch teams have still got it. But Nick, thank you so much.
I won't be surprised at all.
No, I'm sure you wouldn't.
Thank you for having us.
So Nick, do you want to give one more plug to yourself?
Yeah, please check us out. We are the United Hour podcast. Twitter is our main social media at United Hour, or just, wherever you get your podcast, search for United Hour. And yeah, it's all things Manchester United.
And just in case the United fans stumbled upon this, we're Football-Oranje, Dutch football English language. We're on YouTube at the moment, but we've got a platform on X, Twitter. We have a website. We put match reports on, things like that. Dutch national team, Eredivisie, much else besides, player interviews sometimes too. So yeah, stick around for much more. And of course, if you are just into Dutch football in general, you enjoyed this, do give it a like, and we'll know what you enjoy listening to, and we'll do some more of these throughout the season. Thanks everyone for listening, and on to the next one. And on Wednesday night, we'll be a big Twente fan. Thank you, Nick.